Then check this out.
Just one follow-up on banking. With SVB's sale to First Citizens, does the administration believe the worst of the banking crisis is now behind us?
So we welcome the news, which comes at no cost to taxpayers. This is a process run by the FDIC, as you know. And so, again, because of the decisive actions that we have seen from the banking, the regulators, and from our administration, the banking regulators, and also the Treasury Department, the banking system is safe. The Americans here can be confident, and we have seen deposits stabilize at regional banks throughout the country, and in some cases, outflows have modestly reversed. So what we have done these past 14 days or so has worked.
Okay.
Not going to go beyond that, but certainly we welcome the news.
The shooting in Nashville has an unusual component in that the gunman is actually a woman, an adult woman, has been identified now, 28 years old. Does the president have any expectation that when looking for a new way to talk about gun violence, we've been through Sandy Hook in the Obama years, we've been through Uvalde in this administration, looking for some way to have circumstances change how Americans feel about it. Tennessee is obviously a state with a gun culture as a part of its identity for many Tennesseans who live there and believe in a gun culture. Do you think there is any component of this, like having a female suspect, highly unusual, like in single-digit percentage of this, that could be a point for him to address to try to break through on a subject that has thus far not made change in the legislative realm?
Yes, I know that.
Look, I know that the reporting on the shooting is still coming out, so I want to be very mindful and not get. I've heard or watched those reportings as well before coming out, so just want to be very mindful to not get ahead of. I'm sure there'll be an investigation. They'll look into it. Just want to be careful from here. Look, the president's going to continue to take action to reduce gun violence because this is a priority for him and he wants to save lives. He thinks it's important, clearly, to save lives, and he believes that more must be done. And that is something that you've heard from the president multiple times, sadly, when this has occurred. But he's also going to continue to ask Congress to enact common gun law reforms. That is something that must be done in the legislation.
It's over.
Right, in the legislative branch. And so, and that's including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazine, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on the streets. And so those are things that they can do. Those are things that Congress can actually act on if they come together and take action. And so we can't, this is not something I want to do, and I'm sure this is not what all of you want to cover, is these types of shootings over and over and over again. This is certainly not what the president wants to keep talking about and giving condolences to family members and communities. This is not okay. So we're going to continue to call on Congress to act. We're going to see what else we can do. The president just announced something, an action recently, because he wanted to make sure that we did everything that we can from the federal government, even after taking historic actions. So again, this is a sad day for our country, for the people of Nashville, and our hearts go out to them. Again.
On the president's call for legislation, has he spoken to or will he be speaking to Republicans directly? Is he going to ask Republicans to come to the White House, trying to negotiate directly himself?
We've had, I get the question, but we have been having conversations with congressional members for this past 2 years. I mean, this is conversations that we have had over and over and over, and will continue to have. So it's not going to stop today. It's going to continue, or it's not. It's not starting around this particular sad shooting. But
He's had conversations with Republicans about the need
I'm saying
for
what I'm saying is what I'm saying. I don't have anything to preview for you at this time or to lay down of a conversation that he's had recently. What I'm saying is this is something that his administration has taken very seriously over the last 2 years. There's a reason why this is a president that has taken historic actions on executive orders when it comes to gun violence. because he's taken this seriously. I don't have anything to read out to you at this time, but our office, the Office of Leg Affairs, the Domestic Policy Office, these are things that we have taken very, very seriously. I'm going to try and take a question from the back because I know Alex way back there.
Karine, can you discuss what happened with your FAA nominee and what you plan to do next? I mean, obviously there have been some high-profile incidents and people are concerned about the safety of our commercial aviation system. So what's next?
Look at this. Somebody come look at
So FAA needs a confirmed administrator, period. Like that's what they need. That's what the country and Americans deserve. Phil Washington had the right qualifications and experience for this role. A couple of things that you've heard me talk about and you've heard us talk about more broadly. He's led the Denver International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world, managed large safety-focused transportation agencies, and served as command sergeant major in the military. This was a veteran of the military. He was a veteran. And, there were games that we played on, an onslaught of unfounded Republican attacks on Mr. Washington, on his service, his experience, and which irresponsibly delayed the process. So, including threatening unnecessary procedural hurdles on the Senate floor. That's what was happening. And so, Senate Republicans' month-long relentless campaign to sink the nomination of a qualified, again, military veteran. Our administration believes that his service in uniform is an asset. That should have been an asset. So again, we respect Mr. Washington's decision and are grateful for the time he dedicated to this process and continued commitment to public service. But again, the FAA needs a confirmed administrator here. Christian, go ahead. I know.
Thanks. I wanted to ask about this SBA roundtable coming up. There's been critiques from Republicans that the administration, while you guys are addressing all of this fraud that we saw during the pandemic with the small business programs, there isn't enough work being done to modernize the system so that this moves quickly and smoothly going forward and we don't have to do this back-thinking process again. Do you have any response to that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Look, America's small business economy is opening again. Right, it's growing, and a lot of it is because of the work that this president has done this first 2 years. 10.5 million applications that we have seen for small businesses. That's because of the work that we have done, starting with the American Rescue Plan. And because of how we've handled COVID relief, because of how we've handled making sure that we have an economy that grows from the middle up and the bottom up, middle out, we have seen this increase of people going out there trying to start small businesses. We have seen making sure that people don't get left behind. And this is because of SBA programs and services. And just a couple of things, CBA they have scaled up its use of technology and centered customer service and experience, increasing accessibility, streamlining processes, and delivering broad support across our programs. And because of that, they've been able to deliver on these historic outcomes. So the data shows that SBA has done the work because of this president's leadership to make sure that you see these small businesses growing. And a lot of that is from the beginning of the first couple of months that the president walked in, passing the American Rescue Plan. By the way, no Republican voted for.
Don't change the subject.
I know, we have to go. I'm going to take one more. Try to go to the back here. Go ahead, John.
Thanks a lot, Karine. Any chance of the president reaching out to the Tennessee congressional delegation, predominantly Republican, in terms of trying to move legislation forward on the front of gun control, trying to, as you put it, move forward with meaningful gun control?
So don't have anything to preview at this time, but again, this is our administration, when it comes to Office of Leg Affairs, when it comes to other White House offices, has taken this very seriously, have had multiple conversations with members of Congress about moving legislation forward to deal with this issue, and that's not going to end, that's just going to continue.
Now I feel better.